Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing a predictions video, giving my thoughts on what I think is going to happen in the next season of Stranger Things on Netflix. That will be for Season 3. And spoiler warning, if you guys have not seen Stranger Things up to the end of Season 2. So continuing right along with these Stranger Things videos for a little while longer, at least probably for the next couple weeks. I want to do some other ones, of course. Season 3 has not been officially confirmed yet by Netflix, but I mean, it's pretty much guaranteed that it's going to be the Season 2 premiere. Got like 15 million views in the first couple weeks. It's probably got way more than that now. It's probably past 20 now, to be honest. And that is insane for a type of series that is shown on something like Netflix. I mean, it's crazy numbers, just insane numbers, like the biggest they probably ever had. So this one is very exciting. You know, I'm very happy to hear that Stranger Things is doing well and will most likely continue for at least a few more years. Maybe I'll do a video on this topic, which is how long Stranger Things is going to last. From what we're hearing, it sounds like it'd probably be 4 or 5 years, and then they'll look to most likely wrap it up. But we're going to have to see if that's true, or if maybe the series will last even longer. So Season 2 of Stranger Things, if you guys did not see my full-length review for it, it's over 20 minutes long, and it's in the channel, and you got to check it out. You got to watch it. You know, Stranger Things Season 2 was really incredible. After it's been a little bit now, maybe I do think Season 2 actually was better than Season 1 in a lot of ways. For the characters, I think it was maybe a better season. For where it took them at the end of Season 1 to the end of Season 2 was just amazing. So, especially in the season finale for Season 2, that was really special. So, Season 3 predictions, let's do it as far as the characters go. Let's give our thoughts on each character, and then you know, maybe some locations. So, not sure 100% what we're going to see as far as a monster goes for this season. Could it be another Dungeons and Dragons type of, you know, kind of inspired creature for the season? I do think we will see a new monster for Season 3, but I don't think they're done with the Mind Flayer yet. And as we saw in the Season 2 finale, the Mind Flayer is still alive. It's still in the Upside Down. The gate has been closed, so to speak, or the portal has been closed between the two. But that said, it's still, you know, it's still out there. So if the gate was able to be reopened, or if somehow it was able to maybe reach out to Will or somebody, it's really hard to say what could happen here and how it could kind of come back into the story. But I don't think they're 100% done with the Mind Flayer as a monster yet. I just think that it's going to probably be accompanied by something else too. Like even in Season 2, you had the Mind Flayer, but then you had the Demodogs as well. So you had kind of the combination of the two with the tunnels and everything like that. And, you know, so Will kind of becomes a spy and this guy. So this was pretty cool how you have kind of the combination. So it's not just like it's the Mind Flayer by himself. You got the dogs in there, you got this other stuff happening, and it kind of all combines together to make a very exciting season. So Season 3, I'm thinking will be a lot like that. We're not going to see most likely the Mind Flayer by itself. We've got to see some other kind of monsters or creatures to go along with it. And I think it will kind of be, you know, it will be involved, of course, too. It's, you know, it's a big creature, it's a big monster, and it hasn't been totally killed yet. So I do think it will be there, but I think there's going to be something else, you know, as well there too that they'll have to do. Maybe some kind of monster that can do some kind of portal, like reopen the portal or something like this. And then maybe it will be revealed this season that possibly the agency that was at the facility there, where the gate was, may not actually be responsible 100% for what's happened here, and maybe you know, somehow, or at least with what happens in Season 3, even though it's shut down, things are probably going to continue, and in some ways they might get much worse because you don't have anyone there in agency to actually deal with this. If there are creatures that start kind of coming through some kind of new portal, or if something happens here, there's not really going to be much in the way of forces to deal with it. So it could be really exciting. I've heard a lot of different theories for the season on what we could see from some kind of potential monster threat or something. Maybe something that kind of teams up with the Mind Flayer, somehow opens a portal, allows both of them in, and then maybe the Mind Flayer picks someone else this time as its victim. I would not want to see it be Will again. And I don't think they would do it because it would just be too repetitive, and Will has been in so much danger throughout the series already. I feel like at this point now, his character can't constantly be a victim. You can't constantly have Will in a state of just, disarray or being trapped or lost or possessed, whatever the case may be. I think they need to lay off Will for a little while. I have heard a nice theory, which I think is pretty cool, that maybe the Mind Flayer could possess or try to somehow take control of 11. I think that would be really cool if they did something like that, although it'd have to be a bit tricky because 11 could just walk around and kill everybody if she really wants to. If she wants to go Jean Grey, Last Stand type of style and just disintegrate people, she could actually do that. So that's just how powerful she is. So it'd be cool to see the Mind Flayer take her over, do something like that. But it would have to be limited, and she would have to kind of hide her powers away from it or something like this. But it could be kind of cool to see something like that, and then maybe that caused some trouble for her and Mike, in their relationship, because of course they have a relationship. It's just kind of is starting to grow now at this point, I want to say, at the end of season 2. And if the Mind Flayer somehow was able to kind of possess her or get involved there, it could confuse Mike or something like that. Or you can see how this kind of story could be forming here if that. So I do like that theory that maybe she could be the character that would be, and because she is the most deadly and she is the one that it's got to be most impressed with, I do think, because she's the one who closes the gate, I would gotta think that if it got the opportunity to choose somebody, it's probably going to pick her. So I do like that idea. I think that could be really cool, and would they be able to get it out of her? Could be kind of tricky. It might be a little bit more difficult than it was with Will because of her extra abilities and everything. So that's kind of cool. So I like that idea, and I do think we could see something like that in conjunction with some other kind of creature or monster here as the season goes through. Could make for a pretty epic finale when they have to try to exorcise the demon or the Mind Flayer again, or do something with 11, but it being a lot harder. So that's pretty cool. We can expect with 11 to continue to live with Hopper now that she's been adopted by him. And we'll have to see with Mike. I would just think that mainly the concentration with them two might be some trouble in their relationship this season, and things not all being, it's like that with real life too. You get in a relationship and everything's great at the beginning a lot of times, but then, you start to, there's trouble. There's things that come up, there's problems, there's stuff that happens, and people get confused sometimes. It could be interesting. We got Mad Max. So Mad Max, a new character from season 2. Going to have to see what they do with her this season. There have been some interviews that could allude to possibly a breakup between her and Lucas. There was one where basically it was said that how long do relationships last at this age? They have been they've just kind of started to get together, but they're really young, right? So as far as their relationship goes, we could see maybe a breakup there, something happened there, a falling out there, and maybe Dustin being involved in maybe some kind of love triangle here. Just kind of have to see where this goes. But either way, it could be kind of cool, and I could see her being a character that maybe eventually could be killed off at the end of the season, something like that. Even though Stranger Things doesn't tend to have a lot of character deaths, it does tend to have a couple here and there, a few. Nothing crazy though. It's not Game of Thrones and killing Mike and stuff like that. So that's what it is. But yeah, so that's kind of what I'm thinking with those three, with Dustin, Lucas, and Mad Max. And also would think for Dustin as well, too. He was a pretty heavy concentration in season 2, so they may want to give Lucas a little bit more time this season because he didn't get as much, even though he had the relationship stuff. I feel like Dustin was kind of one of the standouts from this year. Will as well, too. I think with Will, they do have to kind of take him in a new direction. Like I said before, you can't have him constantly being a victim. I think you have to take him in a direction where, okay, he's been kind of victimized by the things that have happened to him in the first 2 seasons, but he's got to find a way to become strong again, kind of break out of this zombie boy thing and try to regain himself again. So find himself again. We don't know if there's going to be any kind of damage as a result, like maybe brain damage as a result of the Mind Flayer and what happened before. Has he been mind flayed, so to speak? And will he somehow find a way to kind of come out of his shell and start to be a little bit more extroverted, start to be a little bit more kind of human again? So I'm thinking that that's what we might see from his progression this season and development, is to take him in a new trajectory. If you're not going to kill him off, you got to kind of bring him back to life a little bit more than what he has been, which we kind of start to see in the finale for season 2, which was good too. But possibly some forgetfulness there, some things not going right there, probably because of what happened in season 2. So with Hopper and Grace, you think a relationship between the two, I think, is pretty obvious. I think that makes some kind of sense here. But we'll have to see. There was Sean Astin's character, Bob, in season 2, so he's gone now, of course. with season 3, I do think that maybe they could have some, development there as far as a relationship goes, and just something happened there. But, the standard kind of stuff for them. I wouldn't think that much would change with them. It'd kind of be mostly how it's been so far. And, yeah, so that's those ones. We got Nancy, John, and Steve, our other kind of love triangle that's continuing. So I did read some things where it said that Steve was actually, they were considering killing him off, which, if you couldn't tell, by the way, I had thought Steve would be killed off many times at this point, but he is still alive, and I do kind of like Steve. They kind of redeemed him a lot in season 2, which was really cool. And I'd like to see him continue on that path since he is still alive. I'd like to see him, good guy Steve, from bully in the first season to kind of bad guy in the first season to good guy this season, with Max's brother being kind of a more serious bad guy than Steve. So Steve kind of getting a little bit of taste of his own medicine from him. So with them, continue the relationship. I would think not much would change between Nancy and John. It just kind of is what it is. So I don't expect to see too many main character moments from that there. And maybe Steve fading into the background a little bit, but possibly Dustin and the boys reaching out to him if they need help with something and they feel like they can't talk to anybody. Dustin has reached out to him before, of course, in season 2. So maybe we could see some kind of relationship continue like that, where they go to Steve if they need help with something, and maybe they don't feel comfortable going to the others or something. Like they go to him first, that kind of thing. So, and I also like what they've been doing with Dustin and Steve, where Dustin's kind of like his protege, which is that's kind of cute. So that's good. So I like to see that. As far as the facility goes, that's been shut down now. My predictions for that are I think it's not going to help. I think that even though it's shut down, things are just going to get worse, and then they're going to realize, like, okay, maybe it wasn't their fault entirely here, and that maybe they prodded something, or they let something know that we were here and that there was this dimension here, and then those things started coming in. But now that they're not there, maybe it could continue, or could, like I said, could get even worse. So aside from that, I've seen some other theories about possibly, rainbow ship, aliens, this kind of thing. There's mentions of rainbows earlier, and some of the things Will was drawing, some of the monsters earlier as well too. It may be worthwhile to go back and look at some of the ones that were mentioned to see, maybe in season 1, season 2, wherever, to see what possibilities they could have for future monsters. So you guys can write your predictions below. Let me know what you think for this season, what we'll see in terms of a monster, what we'll see in terms of our characters, locations. Do you think we'll see more from 8 this season? I would think that eventually we got to see her kind of return, so maybe she could kind of come into Hastings, or could she be one of the characters that could be Mind Flayed as well? That could be interesting. Or maybe she could be one that could help if 11 is kind of possessed or something. She could be one of the ones to come in to help try to get it out of her or something, because she does have the mind abilities. So really good stuff. Excited to see what they do with season 3 next year, and when we get to see an official release date, of course, I'll let you guys know. But leave your predictions below for the series and what you guys think we're going to see in season 3. I would expect to see much the same formula, a couple, maybe like 1 or 2 character deaths, and then, like I said, a new monster in addition to the Mind Flayer, probably still be in concentration, because that could be so exciting if he was to take over someone like 11 or somebody. So that'll be it for this video. If you guys liked it, please thumb it up below. You can share, you can favorite, and if you're new and you want to subscribe to the channel, put in your subscribing pants, you can do so. You can subscribe at the bottom left. That's it for this one. I'll see you guys again soon for another video. As always, this is Trev, and I'm saying peace. Later, guys. See you soon.